got these ribs. I like to get 3 that are kind of small because I know that they'll fit on the pan. They're about 3 pounds each. First thing I do is this. Cut it open, right on the underside. It goes upside down. Then I gotta get the foil. I like this foil. The big one's from Costco. Then coat it real good with this stuff. I like to get it really coated good.
What is this stuff?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Whatever you like. He said this stuff is, I don't know what it's called. Blues Hog Original Dry Rub. We got it from Walmart. Kind of cheap. It's got a little bit of spiciness in it. And this is going to sit overnight. But it doesn't need to. I learned it really doesn't need to. If it sits just for 15 minutes, just so that it really sticks to the ribs. The equipment that I'm using, just kind of wrap it up loosely, but let that dry rub kind of press into it. And that's it. And then these are just going to go in the fridge overnight. And so, don't forget these here. I like to just kind of clean them out a little bit before I put them in the garbage. They get stinky. And that's it.
The next day.
Here's the ribs that were in the fridge overnight, right? And I just want to put them in the smoker. Okay, see how it really, you know, is really sticking. And look how pliable that is, right? I'm gonna put 1 here and then 2 on the bottom. So like I said, I did 3 ribs. Fits real nice. I set the smoker at a pretty low setting. Zoom in on that. I just turned it on. See, it says 180 degrees. I only want to smoke for a few hours. I don't want it to be too hot because I don't want them to dry out. So that's why I set it on kind of a lower setting, you know, 180 degrees. And that's it.
A few moments later.
So now the ribs have been in the smoker for about 3 or 4 hours. So you remember what they were like before, and they were pliable. Now they're not. And this was set at 180 degrees, and they're kind of cooked, but it's nice and crusty and really smoky, and that's good. And then the next step, which is to me a very important step that I learned, is I really drench it with either lard or bacon grease or a combination, any kind of animal fat. You could even use butter. I've used butter for this, that works good. Whatever animal fat you got, and I put a lot of it on. And this is a special step that I discovered that makes all the difference in the world, because then these are gonna go in the oven actually. They could go back in the smoker, but I like to use the oven. It's more controlled temperature. It's, I don't know why, but they get wrapped up. So now they're going to be sealed and encased, basically, in animal fat. Now I'm going to have to double this one up because it poked through the side. I don't want it leaking out while it finishes in the oven. You can't get too much. Only so much will soak into the meat, so you don't got to worry about that. But this will prevent it from drying out, from losing its moisture during the baking process, which is the next step. This is going to go into the oven in just a second. As soon as I double wrap, see, some already leaked out. That's no good. And then when I put them in the oven, I go anywhere between 250 and 300 degrees. You can go lower and slower, you can go higher and faster, but I just kind of tend to go between 250 and 300 degrees. Once you get them encased in all that fat like I did, it doesn't really matter as much what the temperature is.
2 hours later.
Okay, so they were in the oven for, it was like 280, 290 for about 2.5 hours, and I'm going to check them, and I can tell you that this is how I check. I take a fork and I go like this, and it's like, oh yeah, it's coming apart pretty easy. And that to me tells me it's done. You know, done enough. And so now what I'm going to do is take this thing, it's super hot right now, and I'm gonna put it back in the oven and broil the top of it. Now look, this is kind of messy. I take this and I put this in the garbage. And put it in the broiler and broil the top of it. And that's gonna make the top sizzle a little bit. So in a couple of minutes, we'll look at it. 2 minutes later. Okay, now look at it. It's sizzling on top, right? Once it starts sizzling on top, I think it's done. Or you could brush on more of the fat, you know, and really get a better sizzle, even more sizzle. And then, heck, why not even sprinkle on a little bit more of this stuff? The reason why you wouldn't want to do this is that you think it's too salty, you know, or too much seasoning. But from my experience, and these ribs are kind of thick, that's not going to be too much seasoning. So now I'm going to stick it back in the broil, let it until it sizzles again, and then it's going to be done for sure. There you go. See it sizzling? And then when it cools off a little bit, it's going to still be hot. I'm going to try to cut it into pieces, but maybe not, I don't know. But anyway, it's done.